Yeah, we
Oh my
are.
God, it came through.
It came through. What, were you
God,
expecting not to be here?
I was worried. That little period of black right there, I was a little concerned to be honest. But fortunately, all is good now.
That would have been my fault more
Welcome.
than yours. So you would have
Yes,
been
that's good,
in
and
the clear.
I'll take that. That's okay. But I having some troubles on the internet from my end, so hopefully we can improve that.
Yeah, thank you
But
everybody for watching live, sticking through. We started a little late than usual, but it's all good. We're here and everything's going to be fine.
it's gonna be beautiful, and I'm really excited to have our guest on it. Episode 119. Our very
Woo.
special guest, Phil Gripper. I'm very excited to have him on. Phil's
Me
in
too.
my age bracket, so he's been around in skating for as long as I can remember, and he's a fellow East Coaster. He's a fellow drummer.
I
I'm
know.
excited
It's
to
cool.
get into all his everything with him. Hey, Austin, we got three drummers on the podcast now, so
Hey.
this should be fun. So yeah, I got so much to talk about with him. But before we do, if you don't already know, I got to do my spiel. So here we go. If you don't already, please follow us on all of our social media platforms. Go to our Facebook, give us a like. We have a YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, press the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get a notification when we have a live show going. We have a iTunes. So if you like what you hear, please go give us a 5-star rating and a review. If you want to just share our stuff or comment, that's really helpful as well. And we also have a Patreon. You can be a Patreon for as little as $3 a month. And when you're a Patreon, you get access to a lot of our online exclusive content. We have Inside Outs, which are trick tips. We have 3 pieces. We have section reviews. We just recently watched the battle between Calvin and Rawlinson Rivera on our last episode on Patreon. So that was really fun to go through that with him.
Yeah.
Also, if you haven't seen that episode, please take a chance to go check that out. Episode 118, Rawlinson Rivera is a New York City legend, and it was really cool to catch up with him. So check that out. And that is my spiel. So thank you for bearing with me through it. If you've heard it as many times as, a long time.
Now for my spiel, which is to thank
Here we
all of
go.
our new Patreon supporters this week. Since our last episode, I want to give a special shout out to Ronnie, John Nicely, Mr. Wedgwood, Jack Patrick, Juan Carlos C., Sarah Jane, Noel Lopez, and Greg Martin. Thank you all for being a part of our Patreon community. If anybody is interested in joining who isn't a member yet, click the link in the description of this YouTube video below. Or if you're listening, go to patreon.com/JumpStreetPodcast. A lot of goodies on there. And speaking of our last episode with Rawlinson, wanted to give a couple shout outs to some cool comments from the YouTube video. First one is from Juan CS, who says Rawlinson went with the Rosie's team to Medellin in '97. He was already talking about the computers and things. Very friendly dude. Hang on. Very friendly dude, was doing a fish brain on the side of this really tall ramp thingy. This was one of the best conversations you had on. I hope you guys make the Hoax reunion possible. It's essential. Which he's true. We've been talking about this Hoax reunion for a while on a few episodes. So we have all the pieces. We just have to put it all together.
That's true. Yeah, that's really cool. I remember on my trip to Colombia in 2010, they were saying that no pros had been to Colombia since Rawlinson Rivera. So that I can
Shit.
validate that from the Colombians that it had been a while and they did go there back in the day. So that was really cool.
Damn, that's a big gap since you went there. What year did you go? Oh, 2010, you said, right?
2010.
So,
Yeah.
oof. Damn, that was a while.
Yep.
13 years. Oh, shit.
And then afterward, like Bellino went in Montre. So that's a cool little fact.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool skating in Colombia. I went there, too, after you.
South America is out of control.
It
There's
is.
so much talent down there, and there's so much good skating. So shout out to the entire
Absolutely.
South America. You want to shout out every country.
The whole continent.
The whole continent, though. Everyone's I love it. I got to get back down there soon.
You guys are repping hard. We have one more comment from Curb Surfer, who said, it starts off funny. He goes, I wasn't looking forward to this episode. Straight up. A few people have managed to paint Rawlinson in a bad light over the years, but Rawlinson is a really cool, down-to-earth guy. I'm so glad I watched this podcast and found out for myself that Rawlinson is a nice dude. Not exactly modest, though. That's Rawlinson for you. He's a super nice guy. He's out there. He's in your face, though. He's Dominican from New York, so that's what you got to expect.
It's not cockiness.
No.
It's confidence.
No, it is confidence. Full confidence.
It's confidence.
Yeah. That was a great episode, though. Check it out if you haven't already. Episode 118 with Rawlinson Rivera. We have
a Patreon giveaway this month,
yes,
don't we?
I missed that before. I was just looking at that now. If you are part of our Patreon community, we put everybody in for a random drawing once a month to get one of whatever you want from our online store. So we have all 325 of you in here. I can't see because my microphone is blocking the screen. Here we go. Pick a name. and one person is going to get whatever they want from our online store, and that is Leroy. So congrats, Leroy. We will send you a message to reach out to see what you want from our online store. It could be a t-shirt, it could be a Jump Street hat, a mug, whatever you want, we got you. Thank you for supporting our show and our Patreon. And we have our WTF, of course, as usual. WTF of the week this week comes to us from France.
This is a bit of a throwback WTF, but
kind of, but not really. It's still pretty recent. From Julian Cadeau. This was from 2020, but still, this is like, I've never seen anything like this before. 360 wall ride to, what is it, like a flat spin out or a backflip out?
Yeah, well, that's like at least a flat spin and maybe a backflip. I don't know. Someone in the comments let me know. That's a little more backy than flatty. I don't know.
Backy than flatty.
I can't even call that one, but
his orbit's all out of whack. It's insane. Yeah, 360 wall ride to flat spin or backflip or both out of it, which is
let us know what you think in the comments on that one. That's a tough one.
That was really cool, but I never seen anything like that before. That was awesome. So shout out to Julian Cadeau, still killing it. Give him a follow on Instagram too. He's got a lot of cool flippy stuff going on.
It's hard enough to 360 into a wall ride.
It's hard enough to 360.
Everything's hard.
Who cares about the wall ride? It's hard enough to 360.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I started wizard blade training with Torres today, and I felt like I didn't know how to rollerblade. It was an insane feeling trying to learn.
So are you doing it? You're getting into the
I mean,
wizard,
I've been trying to kind of, but I never really had anybody to show me physically like what the maneuvers are and stuff. So this is my first time actually skating with Torres and having him show me the ways of it and how to do it. I learned so much in like a few minutes with him that I was doing wrong for the last like year and a half or year or something like that. But yeah, I'm figuring it out. I've been wanting to learn it for a while, so I'm going to do what I can to figure it out. I see Colin Kelso on the Wizards too now. He's
oh, no way.
Yeah, he's been posting him on his stories doing the wizard stuff, and he is already killing it. Also, you could have just imagined Colin, like his swivels and stuff like that, his maneuvers. Like it's going to be real interesting to see what he pulls off on those things.
Well, he is a wizard.
Yes,
so
he is definitely a wizard.
He's a wizard on some wizards. So wow,
Perfect.
That's exciting. Yeah, I was looking at Jake Cabot's stuff recently on wizards, and was really impressed. A lot of these wizard guys are like kind of winning me over. I'm still like feeling weird about when I'm on them, but I haven't tried any that really fit my feet. So
yeah, no, I was super weird. I'm still weird, but today when Torres physically showed me like in person, like the way to do things and how it works, it made way more sense and it was much easier. If you haven't seen, shout out to Tom Moist. If you haven't seen his latest video that dropped today, actually, about trends in skating for 2022, wizard blading is up. So invest in wizard blading 2022. You will reap the benefits at the end of the year.
So now you know it's Bitcoin, Dogecoin, wizard blading. You got to do your investments.
Those are the three in that order.
Diversify your portfolio. It's important.
Diversify your bonds.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to our guest?
Yes.
I think we've been keeping him in the waiting room for long enough.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. We're having a nice little chat. But anyway, please give a warm welcome to our special guest, Phil Gripper. There we go.
There he is.
What's up? What's good, everybody?
Dude, it would have been perfect if you had like the machine like you play with and like an outfit, like a astronaut outfit, like intro.
Yeah, I should have hit the Moon Man intro.
Yeah.
Damn, you could have done your own theme song for this episode. We didn't think about that.
Man, we gotta be better at planning.
Next time we have you on, we'll do that.
Right?
How you doing, man? How's everything?
I think that's a 360 wall ride to hot flip.
Hot flip.
You remember the hot flip? It's like a sideways flip.
I thought a hot flip was with your hand, no?
Nah.
Okay.
You remember aggressive inline? Frankie Morales, hot flip. You just do literal side flip.
Oh, I gotcha.
Okay. I'll go with that. I like that.
This is the motion. That way. It's not a front flip.
Wow.
That one.
It's like a starfish.
Okay. If you don't succeed, what will happen?
Flipping is like another language too. Flipping is like another language too. It's like the wizard skating stuff. It's like you don't really know the tricks or how you're doing it. You just know that it's crazy and it looks cool. Because there's so many flips that like vert skaters have done. and just these crazy park on feet and stuff like that where I have no idea what they are. They're just flipping and spinning and shit. And it's like, it's all sick. I just don't know what it is or what they're called.
Different language.
It is a different
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. How about that Brazilian guy? Is his name Daniel or something? That's like
Yeah.
15 skates for USD and does like 16,000s.
That was our WTF
Yeah.
last week, 1620.
Amazing, man.
1620.
And he's like a
The
young
future.
kid too.
Yeah, the future is here and it's scary.
It's wild, man.
And it's awesome.
Wild. Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, it's good to see you. Good to catch up with you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And I'm curious to dig a bit into your story, go through everything. You've been through a lot in skating. I see my screen's freezing up a little bit. I hope my audio's not.
The audio's good.
But okay, good. So, you've done everything from start a skate company, do a skate park, do all these things with OSO and community stuff and working within charities and all these really cool things and music and everything. But I like to start the show in a nice timeline. I know you're from South Carolina, and I'm curious how you got into skating from the early days because I know you're in my age group and you've been around skating for quite some time. So I'm curious to know how you started and how it all began.
Yeah, man. The first time I ever saw rollerblading was at a Barnum and Bailey circus. And I don't know, I think I maybe was like 11 or 12. I was real young. And they had this setup where it was like basically 4 quarter pipes that met in the middle to make a fly box that you could go either way on 90 degrees. And they had bikes, skateboards, and rollerblades. And everybody was just doing this show, busting flips and spins. And I was attracted to the rollerblades out of all of them. But, it was in the circus, Barnum and Bailey, and so it's just something that doesn't seem feasible to a kid in small Florence, South Carolina. And,
Right.
I grew up with a dad who did roll bounce, which is like the roller skate dancing. And so he grew up doing that. And so I grew up in the skating rink. And I'll never forget, I was there with him one day, and there was this dude with rollerblades. He skated fast as shit, and I didn't know what thing he did, but he grinded across the carpet. And, it was a soul grind, I later found out. But at the time, I was just like, oh my God, he's like the dudes in the circus. Like, you can actually do that. And then, it kind of became a realistic thing for me. And so my neighbors, they had also around the same time got a roller hockey setup. And so like everyone in the neighborhood got rollerblades. And so I bought like these $20 skates from one of my friend's older brothers. They're like size 13. Like I wear
Wow.
a size 13. I wear size 9 now.
Oh, wow.
And I was like 14 then. And so, but those are my first little rec skates. And we played hockey, and we already had ramps from skateboarding. And so we started trying our ramps on our rollerblades. And a few months later, they built us a skate park, and that was it from there.
And this was where in South Carolina was this?
Florence, Flowtown.
Florence.
Mhm.
Okay,
Flow
so
Town.
I don't know many skaters from South Carolina. I think Tim Taylor was from South Carolina.
Tim Taylor, Adam
Maybe Josh
McManus.
Amaker, Adam McManus.
Yeah.
That's right. He was like the newer kind of generation from. But yeah, Adam McManus. That's right.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we stole Arsenio.
That's
When
right.
Arsenio left New York, he came down to South Carolina, and we met like as soon as he came down. It was crazy because there wasn't any other rollerbladers that looked like me. And then I see Arsenio, and I'm like, oh snap! And he was ripping too, so it was a bonus. We just were instantly tight.
Did you meet him
Sick.
before that?
No, I never met him before. He moved down, I think, when he was 16, and
It was a while ago.
I came down to Greenville, and we skated street. Actually, no, I met him at Norcross after a Super Hick session, and found out he lived in Greenville, and then went and started skating with him. But it was when he had first got on USD, and it was just like, who is this dude with this swaggy style doing 450 front farbs like water? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, we were all hungry and trying to come up, so we're all filming and like skating aggressively trying to get the clips, and this dude's just like casually fucking everybody up, and it was Arsenio.
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
No,
He make
Arsenio, even like back in the day in New York when he was like, he must have been 14 or
yeah,
something, or
thinking
maybe
about it.
13. But he was so good already. And he was already like a really big guy. Like, and it was sick. And he was just so good, like always had been like, and doing like just like the toughest switch ups like back in the day during that era. And yeah, I
Mm.
remember when he went down to South Carolina.
So
It was a,
easy too.
it was a big loss, but I'm glad he went into good hands down there with
Exactly.
you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting to like for me to think about like the skating and like South Carolina is so spread out, but you guys had like a nice hub between like Atlanta and Charlotte and like everyone and all these events that would like go on there. So it seemed like a super healthy scene growing up in.
Yeah, it was cool just because it was connected. It was a lot of small towns with 4 or 5 rollerbladers here and there. And so anytime there was any skate park throwing a competition, every rollerblader would be there. And so you would get to meet all of the bladers from Georgia, all the bladers from South and North Carolina, some from Tennessee. And so it was really cool because we had a really close, family type network from the start. And that's actually how I came to live in Charlotte, growing up 2 hours away. Um, there's this kid named Whitney, and everybody kept talking about this Whitney guy at my skate park. And I would get mad because,
Cummings, Whitney Cummings.
Whitney, Whitney Ham,
No,
Whitney Ham. You remember Whitney?
okay. I remember Whitney. He did what was
Yeah,
Whitney like 360 sweaty Whitney, like really good sweat
that's
stances.
exactly
Whitney.
the Whitney,
Okay.
dude. And that was the first trick I saw him do. Everybody called me up one day and they're like, Whitney's here at the skate park. And I'm like, yeah, who's this Whitney? I'm going to go battle him, because that's how cheesy we were. I'm going to go battle him. Nobody taught. This is my skate park. And so I go to the skate park and I'm standing there. I'm looking around like, who is this Whitney guy? And they're like, him. And I look over and I see this dude drop in and 360 sweat stance the box. I was like, all right. And
Damn.
we like battled it out. It was amazing. Like, and it was funny because back then they weren't called hardsmans. Like there wasn't a name for the trick. This is like 99,
Oh, damn.
2000. So we were just
Yeah.
like, yo, let's just 360 into a back rail or 362 in fish brain. And it didn't seem to be hard because it was just like, we're just doing a 360. We know how to do those, and landing in the trick we know how to do. And so it was crazy how wild we were. No cameras, like for no reason. It was just like, oh, that dude did 360 sweaty. All right, well, I'm in the 360 fish brain. And then
Wow.
like immediately we're friends, and now I'm coming to Charlotte and staying with Whitney and like meeting Dre and like Chris Zink and Kevin Womack, like the original Charlotte crew, Kenny Owens, Joe Dobson, and I started coming every weekend and
Yeah,
eventually
that's such a scene.
I was gonna say, what a
she
crew!
amazing scene.
What a
I
crew!
remember like I went back down there. I stayed with Dre when I was like 17 or 18 for like a month and a half down at where he lived in Charlotte with his mom, rest in peace.
Yeah, in the deep end.
Yeah, back in the day, and skate with them. Just like there was all this like positive stuff going on with skating, and yeah, I was curious. Like, so you were going every weekend? Did you move there pretty early too?
I started. I went to Charlotte for my very first time at 17 to skate. I moved there by the time I was 23, but I was literally there every weekend until that point, unless we were going to a contest somewhere else or like a session somewhere else. Um, I don't know. It was awesome. Like Dre really took me in. Dre was actually the first one to take me in. Not everybody in the crew was accepting since I was some outsider dude. And so Dre instantly took me in and we became great friends and would always battle, on tricks. And it was awesome because we had different tricks. And so sometimes you skate with that person when you guys have the same tricks and you kind of have that battle, but it's so
Yeah.
much more inspiring when it's a person that does different tricks because then it's opening your mind to do other things. And then too, like Dre's charisma, his energy, his attitude, like he showed us all like just how to be a skater.
No, totally. Like Dre, is just such a sick person, such a sick figure, and especially like back then, I remember first seeing him in Elements 2 and
Oh
being
yeah.
like, "Who is this guy? This guy has so much style, like skating to the beat nuts." And I was just like, "Wow, this guy's out of control." And then meeting him and being like, yo, he's like kind of famous already, like kind of know him, like he's probably going to be cocky, but he was like the nicest guy. He like the
Mhm.
warmest dude, always like, you know, just take people in and just like, yeah, he never had like a shady bone in his body. You know what I mean? Like Dre is just, that's like such a good example for like everyone like in the Carolinas, I bet, and like also in skating in general. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just such a huge figure. That's
Yeah,
cool.
amazing, huge personality, huge spirit. I mean, that dude is the toughest person I've ever seen on skates. During the Say Word days, I don't know if anybody's seen any of the Say Word videos
Of
made by
course.
Kenny Owens, KO, but there's three of them, and they were such an epic time of my life. I
Mhm.
moved here during the filming of Say Word 1 and was here for all of them, and luckily got to be in them all. And there's one clip where it's like a two-story balcony with a rail that goes across and connects to a very steep kink rail. And Dre's doing frontside stall a couple times, trying to get over this rail to jump and drop top acid on this huge kink rail.
Mhm.
He does, and his sole foot goes over, and when he hits the kink, it catches his feet and flings him straight to his face. And I mean, like
Yeah.
he was probably a good 15 feet up from where he
Yeah.
initially, probably 8 feet up from where it threw him down. Broke his tooth, like lip immediately was just like, bleh. And my man
Yeah.
just got up like a G, picked up his tooth, was fucking taking pictures, like, chipped tooth. And like had his girlfriend at the time sew him up, like sew his lip,
Oh
like
my
shit.
God.
He just took a couple shots of some liquor, and he was such a G, you know. And it's just,
Oh my
Wow.
God.
you know, how can you not go off when you are surrounded by people like that, you know, when you're skating? And so
Yeah.
those dudes really just hyped me up. And then, you know, we had baby Montre become the best in the world right in front
Right.
of our eyes. That was
Right.
amazing to watch. He just came out of nowhere. Like I remember we would see him because he had a different crew. And so like we were older, we were driving, his crew was younger, they were taking the bus. And so we would see him sometimes at the skate park, randomly bump into him on street spots. And when we would, Montre would just be doing these amazing tricks. And we're like, dang, like when did he learn that? Like, how is it? Okay, okay, yo, come skate with us. And then, I mean, you see the end result. Like he just out of nowhere was the best.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Him. That's another one. I remember first meeting him when we were years ago. We went to like with Colin Kelsey and Sean Kelsey. We drove down to Atlanta and we stopped in Charlotte along the way and we skated with Montre. It was like just he'd been skating like 2 or 3 years, and Dre had been skating with him for like a few months. Like, and he
Uh,
was already just so ridiculously good. He was just it was already it was just he was just yeah very much a natural. So yeah, but I that's such a, like a crazy crew to like be skating with and just like to have that influence. So like man, that must have been super exciting like with everyone like during that time around Say Word 1, Say Word 2 and all those times. Kenny Owens too, like such a cool
yeah,
guy and like such a
awesome
great
dude.
yeah. So like what back then what were like the because you know you gone on to like you know do a skate company like do a skate park do all this stuff like what were like the skate ambitions during this time.
So during that time, Dre and Brett Coppage, the guy who I did Oso Boots and Oso Skate Park with, and I, the three of us, were trying to start a skate park all the way back then since 2006, 2005. And so Dre had gotten in contact with Pepsi. He had gotten in contact with Mountain Dew, and he had gotten in contact with Red Bull. And Pepsi was willing to give us money, but it was a reimbursement. So we would have to find the money, build the skate park, and then they would be willing to reimburse us. And so that never went anywhere because we were unable to find money. Um, but Dre, you know, Brett and I were all idea people. You know, we love rollerblading and we always have these ideas, you know, and I'm sure everybody does, but you know, we try to execute on them. And so the next thing was a universal boot company, that Dre wanted to start. And so Brett was working on designs for that. And basically the idea was, let's have a boot that you can put your rollerblade on, then you can slap an ice skate on, and then you can slap inside a snowboard or like a ski binding, just have this one boot that you could
That's
use for everything.
crazy. That's a crazy concept.
That is.
I'm surprised it hasn't been done yet, though. I mean, it's not that far fetched, like it's somebody can do it,
No, I mean
And
it isn't that far fetched. It's just like
It's all
an
boots.
interesting concept. You
Yeah.
know what I
yeah,
mean?
and that was Dre's idea, and we started trying to help him work on that, and then he moved to Cali, and so that kind of put a halt to things. We were still talking, but it's kind of tough when there's no face to face and no one's really like having meetings that are resulting with next steps being achieved. But Dre was out there hustling and started getting cuffs made. And so I wasn't mad at him. Like, Dre's always working, man. He's always doing something. But so we just carried on that spirit and always have some kind of projects going on. And if the projects work out, who knows, if it's something that could be a need that needs to be fulfilled, then why not try?
Was that concept of all the boots, like all the sports, was that what you tried with Oso boots, or was that something completely different?
Man, Oso Boots kind of started as really it was just like a science project. Brett called me over and he was like, "Hey man, you want to make some rollerblades?" And I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, come over to my house." And I was like, "Okay." And I went to his house and he had all this stuff in his garage. I'm like, "What's all this about?" And it's like just sheets of plastic and like wood and parts everywhere. And I'm like, what's going on? And so like we constructed a hot box and like a thermoforming unit, which is basically where you heat plastic and then suck it down to a mold. And so we started playing around with like making boot molds and making cuff molds, and started producing an actual shell. So then it's like, let's see if we can get a skin made, and we had a buddy that was a seamstress, and like we were doing it ourselves too, like learning to sew. So of course, like they're pretty ugly in the beginning, but we eventually found like a lady who used to sew surfboard, I guess cases, and so she started sewing the skin, so they started looking a little better. But basically, it was just to show like we don't have to, you know, rely on someone else to produce our rollerblades. And I think it's really cool that we were in the beginning of that wave, because now it's common, like there's so many companies that are owned by individual people that are like 3D printing or buying their own plastic and have milling machines and CNC machines and like cutting sole plates. And so it's kind of cool to see that the DIY is still alive in rollerblading, and actually, with the improvement of technology, is getting better and better, and people are making real products that are better than what are coming from the big factories.
Yeah, that was a really unique way to do that. And I don't think many people were doing that, like you said, prior to that. I think you might have been like one of the first few people to kind of do that DIY, like make your own skate and do it that way. So, um, yeah, that seems to be a bit of like your ethos with everything, like with like music
Yeah.
and all this stuff. Very, very DIY, which is cool. Um,
You
I
didn't
actually
have
want,
the skate, like my bad, like the boot. You made the boot yourself. It wasn't just like a razor's cull or something like that with a skin on top. Like you straight up.
Oh,
Damn, you
yeah,
didn't need to do all that. That's like extra. It seems like.
crazy.
well, that was the thing though. We didn't want to pay to have it manufactured. We wanted to make it. We wanted it to be a handmade rollerblade, and Adapt is the best example of that. They're a handmade rollerblade. It's a beautiful skate, and they're professionals. We were just some random dudes, trying to make something. And so definitely much respect to them, and congrats to their continued success. I hope they live forever. Um, and I hope more people, try to find a way, if you have an idea for a new boot, like do it. Faction is a prime example.
Mm.
Brand new boot design. Some people think it's like a carbon. That's a 100% its own boot,
Mhm.
and so um, props to Clark for, coming up with that and going against the grain because it's really tough.
No, huge shout out to Clark too, because Clark is just like, not only is he like a triple OG, like Excalibur, he's like been around since forever, like killing like everything, the hardest tricks, like awesome style. But like, he's doing his thing with the compound, he's doing his thing with faction. And just to have like such like a smart, motivated person like who's been around forever, like be still involved with skating is massive. So yeah, huge shout out to Clark Kirkman. Check out his new faction skate. Oh, he also just had a podcast with
Yeah, then and
Jan,
now.
I believe, then and now. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, a lot of info about those skates. You don't have like any urge to revamp Oso boots with all this new technology and shit, like 3D printing and stuff like that?
Well, there's new designs, and so
Oh,
we stopped talking about it, but Brett is always onto something, man. And Brett's got several designs where he's using different materials, some with carbon fiber, some with hemp, some with a blend. Um, yeah, so I don't think that it's necessarily all the way gone. Um, there's still process and thought and work being put into new designs. So who knows what the future will bring.
Oh,
oh.
nice.
Really hot.
Oh my god.
I needed an excuse to use that one.
Oh
That
my
was
god.
was that you or was that like a voice thing?
Oh, I don't know where that came from.
that's that's a voice thing from
that's
this prior episode on the show.
Anthony
That's
Marchion's
funny.
episode.
Actually, I wanted to, since we're talking about Oso and the boot company, I actually wanted to talk about Oso, the skate park. But before we get into you getting your first skate park in 2017 and everything that came with that, that was really cool that you did. You worked at Woodward for a while.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this had any influence in you wanting to do a park or like being around the building aspect or the ramps aspect, but what was that like working at Woodward, and did that have any influence on your motivation to do a park in the future?
My time at Woodward is probably the wildest time for me because I was a wild person back then. I'm not the same calm and collected Phil that you see here. I was crazy, and so I loved my Woodward experience. I was very fortunate. The 7 years that I worked there was the 7 years that Chris Edwards lived there. So like we became like this over the years. He taught me how to play baseball darts, and I used to whip his butt at it every day. Now I'm just playing that every day. Like I mean, we would. That's how tight we were. We would literally
Sick.
like you got an hour, you got 2 hours, let's go. We'd run down to Brownies and play some darts and have a pint and just get away, shoot some pool.
Oh my god, brownies.
Sick.
Yeah, and just the wildness, man. Like because when I worked there, rollerblading was the biggest sport at camp, and so we had all of the cabins around the rock. We had kids sleeping in BMX cabins and skateboard cabins because there were so many rollerbladers they couldn't fit in the blader cabins,
Wow.
and so it was amazing, man. Being a part of that and being able to help, teach so many people, and some of them, are pros now. Some of them made it pro and are coming back, and regardless, a lot of them are still skating, and that's what matters most to me.
Wow. That's really cool. Like to, be able to have an impact like that. I had a couple friends that were Woodward counselors, and it's funny, like down the years when like someone who like kind of gets to a point, maybe becomes pro or a sponsored skater, and they're like, "Oh, you were my Woodward
Yeah.
counselor." So it's probably like super cool and rewarding to have that kind of experience.
Oh man, it's amazing, dude, and it's awesome. Like every time I go to some major event, I'm running into all sorts of people, and the hardest part now is, when I taught these guys, they were kids. Now everybody's adults. They got beards, they got like piercings and tattoos, and they look way different. They're like, Phil, you remember me? And I'm like, no.
No.
Like, but I'm still gonna give you a big ass hug, remind me of your name, and then I probably will remember. And then we get to reminisce about some fun like camp story of something either stupid that I did or funny or vice versa. And so it's awesome just being able to feel that love and see that the people still share the same love that you do, for rollerblading.
Oh, hell
Totally.
yeah. That's a crazy time because I can't imagine going to Woodward and seeing rollerbladers taking over the whole camp. Well, I mean, like, besides the what
Yeah.
years it event, I'm talking about actual camp, like more than skateboarders and BMXers. Because one of the last times, or it might have been the last time I went to Woodward East during the summer when camps were happening, it might have been like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was, but there was only like 5 or 6 rollerbladers, and that's it.
Yeah,
And I was
man.
like, I felt so bad that like I was like, good for these kids, they're still here, but like I felt so bad. I was like, everybody here, there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of kids like skateboarders hanging out with each other, BMXers, and then there's just like these like 5 or 6 who were like, hey, rollerbladers just like us, and we're like, this is it. Like it's so to
Yeah.
hear you say that like rollerbladers all over the place, like I hope we get back to a point like that again. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like with the rise in skating and rollerblading, it can definitely, as long as it's accepted. And that's the messed up part. They don't offer rollerblading at Woodward anymore, but they offer parkour and scooter and skateboard and BMX. So literally everybody else but rollerblading. And so and I'm not sure if they offer quads, but I imagine that if it makes money, they're gonna hop on it. And so,
Do we know that they
uh,
don't do rollerblading anymore though? Because they were supposed to do it in 2020. It was going to be like the first year they came back, and of course the whole pandemic happened. So I don't know what happened with that, but it was supposed to
but
come
it
back.
for a whole summer or for a week, because I know one year
Uh,
was supposed to be for like a week for like a trial, and it was
Maybe
literally
that.
like
Yeah.
it was the end of camp, and that is just a ploy because they don't sell much admission at the end of camp,
Hmm.
and so that's why they used to do what's called the TAP program, where you would get to pick one kid um, from your cabin to get tapped, and then they get to come back the last week of camp. It's because nobody comes those weeks. And so they're like, well, how can we make money? Well, I guess we can give rollerbladers a week because then they'll all be forced to come at this time. And so it's kind of
Wow.
bittersweet.
I didn't know that was the story behind that. I remember Richie Velasquez saying that at one of the what year is it? He was like, "Yeah, they're giving us like some space next summer," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." I didn't know like the reason for it or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think the numbers are growing huge now, especially since 2020. So hopefully something would happen and we get back in there, or just bigger numbers in general at some sort of camp or something like that, because that's where the kids are. That's where they grow and stuff like that. That's how it was for us. I mean, I never went to Woodward, but like our generation, I guess you could say, just kids linking up together, networking at Camp Woodward.
Exactly. And kids need to have that nurturement. I grew up, I started skating in 98. And so, where I live, there was no camp. There was, we had a skate park. So you go and you do your thing. But, with these things put in place, we have the opportunity and have had the opportunity to really, you know, get in touch and actually connect with kids beyond the skating and show them, how to be a good person as well. And that's what I really like the most about camp, because one, you do get to skate and you do get to try new things and help others learn. But at the end of the day, you're building character and you're showing people how to actually, you know, be real cool people and not be dickheads, essentially.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so attitude is everything. And for me, one of the main rules about my camp and when I was at Woodward is, we don't laugh at each other. Like, because a lot of people are nervous to try things because they're scared, one, they're gonna fall, and then they're scared too that somebody's gonna laugh at them. And so, you know, protect yourself and let's not laugh at each other. I mean, sometimes things are silly, like that's different, but there's
Yeah.
definitely like when it's not funny. And so,
Yeah.
you know, having that established too, and you know, just encouraging the kids, it really you can see the ones that need it and how it helps them.
That's cool. Man, that's cool. I love that attitude. And it's just feeding into Yeah, like making them, like you say, better, more conscious people. Like, be aware of your surroundings, be aware if you're being an encouraging force or not, and be a positive force. That's cool. They go to the skate park, they learn not only how to do some tricks, but how to be a cool person. That's sweet.
They,
Um,
I just had a
Sorry.
quick idea, real quick. Skaters, we're also grassroots now. Like bladers like Billy, like own skate companies now. John Julio, we have like the Compound and Clark Kurtman. We have Ramping Camp with Tim Schmidt. Like we should just DIY our own
Blading camp.
grassroots
Yeah, blading
blading.
camp.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Joshua
blading camp
Wiki.
pretty much like that. But like I guess one here to since Woodward doesn't offer it anymore, so like all these people have like friends at school who go for skateboarding or BMXing or parkour, whatever it is, and then now we could have like an inline one, at least in the states or something like that. But yeah, blading camp pretty much
Yeah,
during.
but I think like Phil said, and I agree. I think there's some value in like the interactive aspect between like other countercultures, like
There
bladers,
is.
skateboarders, bikers, like connecting and interacting, and I think that's cool. Like that's something to encourage as well. Maybe I don't
It is if we're able to do that, but if not, it's better than nothing.
know.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think like kind of to expand on your idea, Austin, it'd be tight to set it up so that each destination has its week long camp, but they're all like scheduled with each other. And then we have a set of staff that goes to all the spots to teach
Oh,
collectively. And so like, it's like a tour for the teachers. And then so you go to ramping camp for a week and teach there. And then that staff after that goes to the compound and teach for a week,
oh, that's
or however
sick.
I think that would be really interesting. I actually do something like that with the Get Rolling crew. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them.
Of
They're
course,
based
yeah,
out of New York.
yeah.
Yeah, so they teamed up with Cameron with what
Hmm.
year is it? And we did this amazing tour throughout Mexico where we taught clinics and showed people how to rollerblade and did stretching and slacklining and wellness and all this amazing things that brought a lot of people together.
that's what it's all about, man. And honestly, like clinics, demos, like showing people who don't skate skating, like like getting outside of the box a little bit is so important and
Right.
helpful.
And that's how it
Yeah,
used
that's
to
really
be.
cool.
Chris Edwards used to
Oh
have to go
yeah.
around and do all those demos. I remember Tom Heiser still
Hmm.
with the rollerblade man, still to this day.
Yeah,
And so
Hmm.
a lot of times you got to put it in people's face because people don't see rollerblading often. The TV doesn't want to show us, and you can't
Yeah.
just go to the
Mhm.
mall, like you can to buy a Thrasher shirt. And so, I think we need to have more of people just going out and putting rollerblading in your face.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I love that energy.
I know it's just a
Um,
cool conversation. I love your idea too about like I don't know how far fetched it is, but counselors pretty much like touring the country for clinics
well,
or
you know what
camps or
that
something like
is?
that.
That's what we
That,
did. It was me, Cameron Card, Meta, who's the
Mhm.
president and founder, Coco Sanchez, um, and her boyfriend, what's his name, Dylan, I believe, the Pogo guy. And it was great. Like everywhere we went, we had. I think the smallest class was maybe around like 30. The biggest we
Oh
had
wow,
over 100 people, and we had to split it up into like two separate classes. And I'm the grind instructor. We had like a flow instructor, we had a beginner instructor. So like flow is teaching you how to turn and like how to cruise, do transitions. We had a basic class where you learn the basics of learning how to start, learning how to turn, learning how to stop. And so everyone got to choose what they wanted to work on, and it was amazing. There were kids as young as 4. There was a lady that was 63 that had been
oh
rollerblading for 3 weeks, and she was getting it, dude. Like she
that's
was skating
crazy.
fast as some of the fastest people out there, and she was had her shaky arms, but her little wobble, but she was going,
Damn.
yeah, good for
and she
her.
That's
took the
cool.
she took the flow class, and she was learning how to skate more steady. And so people really appreciated it. People really wanted it, and so it's out there, and then they just had to have the means to access it. So I feel
That's
like it's something that like more people should try to do. Like more companies should look into ways where they can like, let's do some demos, you know, or
Absolutely.
let's contact a local skate shop and have them advertise that we're going to come and teach a free class, you know, this day, this location, and get some new people on skates, you know, and sign some autographs and everybody have a good time.
Yes.
Dude, honestly, this is something I've been talking about with actually Bellino for a while. Like, we got to do demos. Like,
Yeah.
demos are what we got to do. We got to go to the skate park 9 to 1, like go there, like teach lessons, like 11:30, 12, throw on the burgers and some dogs, and then just
Yeah.
like, get out of there, and just do little things like that. That's what it's about.
And it doesn't even have to be that frequent, you know, like you can start something like bi-monthly, like every other month,
Hmm.
you know, everybody knows that there's going to be the Mesmer meetup right here, you know, or whatever it may be. And so, I don't know. I think like
Be
if everyone
proactive.
got on that page, you know, like, cause then the world also gets to meet us too. A lot of people don't understand our personalities. They just see us doing what we're doing and just assume that we're some aggressive type of person or maybe someone that might use drugs or like, I don't know, not what we actually are. And so to interact and like sometimes force that interaction on someone and let them see like, hey, I'm a normal person, I'm pretty cool, I'm interesting, like, and I'm friendly, you know, and this is what I do. You think it's cool? I can teach you, you know, this is where you can get some skates, you should try it out, you can do it, you know, I believe in you. And because a lot of people don't get that ever in their life, and they get it from a stranger, especially when they think that that person's cool or admire what they're doing. You know, you might change somebody's life and not even know it.
Wow, I love that energy. And I love to hear that you're doing all this with Get Rolling. So, like, huge shout out to Meta. He is
Yeah,
the man. And man, I saw like on your Instagram that you were down there, but I didn't know what you were down there for. So it's cool to hear it. And I hope you end up doing more of that, because that sounds like really
yeah.
positive stuff.
I know, that's awesome. Why was it in Mexico and not in the States, for example?
Well, there's a huge need. You know, the Latin community is, you know, a lot of the places where we were, it was very poor people. And so, not to say that there aren't very poor people here, but you know, Meta is from Puerto Rico. He lived in Mexico, and rollerbladers saved his life. You know, he was taken in by a family when he was down on his luck, and the family that took him in, you know, his best friend rollerbladed and gave him skates and gave him something to give him a reason to believe in himself. And um, you know, a lot of people down there have bad circumstances, you know, and so it was kind of, you know, easy for for it to be the decision to go to Mexico because there's a great need, there's beautiful scenery, and Meta has a deep connection, you know, with the people there. And so it was awesome. We were able to link up with Fry Gomez. He does Proyecto Mexico. He's an amazing rollerblader and an amazing filmmaker down there that spotlights a lot of Mexican rollerbladers and, you know, puts them in our eyes when we wouldn't know who they are. Just kind of like how you guys were talking about South America, you know, it's amazing
Mhm.
how there's so many gems in rollerblading, some of the best rollerbladers that never get discovered, you know, but they love
Yeah.
it and do it, you know, just as greatly as anyone else. And so it was an honor, and I'm excited to do more. We have more coming up for this year, and so, you know, just trying to travel as we're able to. You know, with COVID things, restrictions are changing, and so we'll see how this year goes, though.
Yeah. Hopefully things change. It's been a wild couple of years. Um, which gets me into, we should talk about the beginning of the skate park.
Yeah, I was about
The
to say.
so this was like a pretty big deal. Like, I think anyone in the East Coast or Northeast that experiences winter knows that it's not the, California situation, or maybe perhaps even in Mexico situation where you can skate year round. It gets like cold, and that skate park was ringing bells all the way up in New York, and
Mhm.
you had some pretty cool events that went down. So how did it all start, and how did it all come to fruition?
Uh, Basically, it started, with the Oso boots. And so we were making them in Brett's garage. And then Brett ended up moving. And so we started making them in my house. And we started messing up the hardwood floors, 1932 hardwood floors to be specific. It's a rental though, so it was cool. But it basically became a situation because we were working with like urethanes and like different chemicals that you're not supposed to breathe, and so we started to try to find a warehouse space, and neither of us really could afford anything serious, but we were looking, and so Brett had a friend who was fixing motorcycles out of his girlfriend's garage. She was like getting upset with that, so he needed a space. So we were like, okay, let's go in together. We can afford to do that. And so we started looking and end up finding the space, and then the guy backs out. And so it's like, all right, well, we're on our own now. And just in looking for warehouse space, Brett found a skate park that was about an hour away that had closed. And it was crazy. The park was amazing. It was like a maybe 12,000 square foot inside indoor skate park. Beautiful park. Layout was dope. Ramps were great. The park was making money, but just some rich asshole moved into town and bought the building to put his car collection in.
What?
Oh no!
Yeah, isn't that terrible?
That's what happened?
Put a fully functioning, rent paying, like I think they had been there for, I don't know, almost 10 years. They've been there for a long time. Put him out of business just to put his car collection. It's crazy, like how money doesn't care.
What a dick.
Right.
So this guy, gets the bid to excavate the ramps. So he gets paid to destroy the ramps. Instead of destroying them, he just moves them into a field and then sells them. So he got paid twice. But we bought the skate park. And then we had this big project of like renting 18-wheelers and getting volunteers to come, and like we rented forklifts, and we moved this whole skate park in 2 trips, and like 2 weekends of trips, I should say, an hour away to Charlotte. And so we had a warehouse space. We had, that we could afford.
What kind of truck was that?
It was like like a flatbed 18-wheeler.
What?
Flappy 18-wheeler took. Yeah, it had to be huge.
Yeah, so the 18-wheeler took 2 trips each time, so 4 trips total with the 18-wheeler. And we also had like pickup trucks with trailers, and like, yeah, it was a lot of money to move it. And so,
I bet.
but we did, and we were excited. We had our ramps in the parking lot of the space that we were supposed to move into. We had already signed the lease, did the first month's rent and the deposit, so we were ready to go. And we learned a very hard lesson that that's not how it works with business. And so we actually had to get an architect who then told us that the building was not at all up to code. And so we ended up losing out the building. We lost our deposit. We lost all the money that we just spent to move. So like we were out about $9,000.
Oh,
wow.
Instantly. And then they were like, you have 2 weeks to move your ramps off of our property.
Oh my God.
Like, what do we do? And
right.
One of my friends, his name's Joe. He owns his house, and he was like, well, you can put him in my backyard till you figure it out. And they sat in his backyard for 4 whole years, dilapidating, and we were able to save maybe 100 2x4s and 2x6s total, but everything else just rotted. And
oh my God.
Props to Joe Morrison. Thank you so much, Joe. I'm talking about his neighborhood hated him so much that, they have the like award certificates that you get like in school for making honor roll. His neighborhood, the homeowner association, made an award, framed and everything, stuck it on his door, worst house in the neighborhood, and like listed everything. And that pretty much is all about the ramps. And so he took a lot of heat. But in that 4 years, it really was like a blessing in disguise, because at that point in time, it was like, let's make the skate park to get money, to make rollerblades, to make Oso. And that was it. That was all it was. And over that amount of time that it took us to recoup that money and find a new investor and get open, it really helped me realize that we were actually creating a community tool. You know, this is more than skating now. Now we're gonna have something that can impact kids' lives, you know, adults' lives, families' lives, and so um, you know, we have a space now that we can do things for the community specifically, you know, and that's really what sat with me. And then my mind started going in those directions, and you know, since then, a program called Community Unity was born that we started at the skate park, where we meet once a month on the second Saturday and make sandwiches for the homeless. We're still doing that despite the skate park being closed for over a year, and so we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary of that. Um, I'm still in touch with a lot of the families, you know, that I connected with, you know, through the skate park, and so you know, we had a good 3.5 years, but you know, the relationships and the things that we started still are rolling. And so now, as it stands, we have the ramps back in Joe's backyard again.
Oh
But
wow.
this time, Joe put up a private fence so nobody can see them, and we have a little, we call it Joso Skate Park. So there's the beginnings of the skate park being built back there. We have a little like 3.5 foot mini ramp, and like the down rail is there set up, and about to put the down boxes on and built a street course. So it would be really awesome to get it done and be able to have Montre's contest again, the QCKC, because that was a really amazing event. And so I
Mhm.
was super sad about not being able to have a space to host that, you know, when we closed too.
Yeah. That's tough. I did see the QCKC. That was really sick, though. Some New York guys went down a
A
few
lot, yeah.
times, and those look like really cool events. So just even having those memories and being able to have created those memories like you were when you were a counselor is probably like just so amazing. But I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of talk about community unity a little bit because I noticed that there were like some things that you did community wise, charity wise that were noticed by even people in like the local news and stuff was noticing some of this stuff. So where did that all come from, and how did that manifest and develop?
Well, I wanted to find some kind of way to regularly do a community charity event, and I didn't really know what to do. And we had hosted like a vendor event. We did a bunch of stuff with the skate park, and so we had a bunch of local craft makers come and set up and rent a table, and then we had the skate park basically a store. And so people came through and could buy items, and I was talking with a bunch of the vendors, and one of them I had spoke to, they had ran an organization called It's a Vibe Adventures, where they get elderly people and they take them for hikes and take them for walks or take them to like the river and kayaking. It's basically to promote exercise amongst older people, and you know, to also help them feel like they're still wanted and still have purpose in society too. And so it was really cool. And so I was asking her about like, you know, what kind of events they did, and told her that I was looking to try to do something regularly at the skate park. And Lisa is the lady that I was speaking with. She had said that one time they had hosted an event where they just got a bunch of people and made sandwiches for the local shelter, because that's what they asked for. So I was like, okay, you know, that seems simple enough. Would that be something that you think you could contact them about to see if they'd be interested in, you know, having us do it monthly? And she was like, you know, let me see. And she got in contact with the place, because you have to schedule when you're going to deliver food. You can't just bring stuff. And so, you know, so they can control waste. And
Hmm.
we got on schedule for a full year to bring sandwiches every second Saturday of the month. And that's where it started, and we just kept it rolling. And now the it's not even the same community center. It's changed businesses, and we still work with them. And so it's been really, really awesome having, you know, people come out every month there's the regulars. There's always new people. It's my favorite to see kids because kids need to understand the importance of giving back, and you know just because you have doesn't mean that someone else does. And so let's all take care of each other. And it's inspiring for me to see them come out and to see them smile and be excited about helping a complete stranger.
Yo, that's awesome. I was gonna ask you too, like who is actually involved in it because you said you do it on Saturday, so I'd imagine Saturdays being a busier day of the week for the skate park. Is it like you had kids who like coming in to skate help out with this too? Like how did that work?
So we would do the event from 10 a.m. till noon. Like the sandwiches would have to be delivered there by noon. And so we would usually be wrapping up around 11:30 to deliver the sandwiches. And then the people that stayed, we would take a group photo and like have like donuts and drinks and then open the skate park at noon.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
And,
That's cool.
as an incentive for, kids and people in general, I did a free day pass if you came to volunteer. And so, most of the people that came were adults and did not, want to because they don't participate in action sports, but it was really exciting for the kids, to get that reward as well and be able to have a free whole day to skate just because they helped someone else.
Yeah, what a great like motto to encourage kids. Oh, I lost my camera. What a great motto to encourage kids to do these things and be involved with the community. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. It's so cool to like hear that, like, you've impacted so many people in like such a positive way and like continue to and work with these. I think I've been saying for a while, there needs to be more charity in skating and yeah, more charity in skating. Charity is a good thing. It's rewarding. It's
Yeah.
helps others, makes you feel good about helping others. It's cool stuff. Um, let's talk about Shredware shorts really quick. So
Hey.
you got some new
He got
stuff
excited.
coming out.
Yeah, man. Shredware is my new brand. It is a crash pad brand for hip and tailbone protection specifically. And so I wanted to make a short that wasn't over padded. That seems to be a big problem that a lot of people, including myself, have encountered with crash pads. And, some people need all of the pads, but not everybody does. And so um, the first crash pads I bought were some $20 Amazon ones because I was like, I'm not paying $80 for some crash pads being cheap. But and they were terrible, man. They had like these bumpy textured plastic pads that covered my whole entire butt and like it went in between my legs and from the back. It did not feel good. And like it had
Were you looking like
pads
Kim
on.
Kardashian?
It was terrible, man. It was like I don't want a gap. You know what I mean? Uh, it had pads on the front of the thighs, and like I was just like, I'm not playing football.
Overkill.
But they were advertised as skate pads, and so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have to spring for some good ones. And like the AAA ones are like hockey goalie shorts look like to me, and so I was like, I'm not getting those. And so I got G forms, which are insanely expensive, man. And so I got the kids versions because they were cheaper and I could fit them. So
Mhm.
I had those, and I swore by those forever. And but there was still things I didn't like about them. Mainly the tailbone pad was at the very top, and you skate and drop down on the ledge, you're not hitting the top of your tailbone, you're hitting that under part of your tailbone, and so like
Yeah.
that was ineffective for me. The hip pads were solid, and so I like that aspect of it. But again, like you got to wear them all day, and then it's only that one pair. So like I'm going on skate tours, so now I'm having to wear the same stinking shorts every day for like 4 or 5 days in a row, and it's undershorts too. So it's
Yeah.
not. And so in May, I started messing around making different pads, trying to figure out what material, what hardness, and ultimately in July I lost my my G-form shorts. I went up to stay with B Ford, and my shorts stayed up there in Boston somewhere. And so then
Ah,
I was like, I don't have anything now, and I was like, I'm not about to spend any more money. And so
yeah.
I had one of my friends actually. I had one of my friends. I went to City Trends and bought these $7, just little $7 spandex shorts. And I had one of my friends sew some pockets on the inside, and then I went to like what is it, Hobby Lobby, and got some like mold shapes, and I poured. That's the dirty side. Show you the cleaner side. I poured these pads. Um, they're just little foam pads that I poured, and I used them for a while inside of these and trying them out just to see how it would go. And realized the pads were definitely too small, needed to be thicker, and the placement was a little off. But I was able to correct those things and started reaching out to manufacturers and getting samples produced, and started getting actual working samples. And so, of course, I'm like sending the nice ones out to everybody and still using my crappy versions. But, you know, eventually I got to a product that I feel is solid and does the job properly, is high quality, and works. Some of the features is just being able to show up, put the pad in, skate. You're done, take them out. You don't have to take off your clothes or wear them all day. You can have 3 or 4 pairs of shorts and switch out the pads, so you don't have to worry about stinking, if you're skating repetitive days, or, just the freedom of wearing the pad you want. Not everybody wants to wear a tailbone pad and 2 hip pads. Somebody just might only hit their right hip. Well, Shredware, so you can just only wear the right hip, and so thirdly is that I wanted to make something that is, I guess, invisible. I didn't want it to be bulky. I wear mine all the time, and people don't even know I have them on, and that's the point. Because a lot of people are embarrassed about wearing pads, and it's just like whatever. I mean, you don't have to be a tough guy, and wearing pads doesn't make you anything lesser than someone who doesn't. You know, for me, the only reason why I'm 38 years old and still skating hard and taking big falls and breaking ribs and still skating is because I protect myself as best as I can. And so I got to attribute a lot of that to some Shredwares.
That's an awesome concept. I never thought about that. Like you only fall on one hip all the time or something like that. So why would you wear the whole thing?
Yeah, and so like you don't have that option when your shorts come with all the pads and they're
Yeah.
attached.
Here, I got a picture
So
of them.
I was about to say, so where can you get Shredware? Because I'm also a 38-year-old skater, and my right hip just doesn't feel great all the time. So
Hey,
I might be your next customer. Where can you get these?
man, I've been trying to get you in some. I've been DMing you, but you can
Have you?
get
Call
them.
them out.
Oh yeah, I was like, if you in Austin want some, let me know. I love to get your opinion on them. But no, it's all good, man. Yeah, I know
On
you
Jump
guys
Street?
million messages. That was to homie Bill, but
Okay.
it's
I gotta say now that because and maybe I'm sorry to a couple people, but I've been like late or behind on my DMs because like now I'm doing like the Mesmer and the heavy
oh yeah.
Instagrams, and it's just like so overwhelming to be on your phone all day, and
Also,
sometimes you
you're
just gotta
popular
put
too.
down your phone, huh?
Yeah, you're a popular guy too. Like outside of all that, you're still Billy O'Neill. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Uh,
sure your DMs get filled up. So
Social media is a full
no,
time
no hard
job.
feelings. No hard feelings at all.
Social media is a full time job. I worked for a company where it was like a team of like 5 or 6 of us who only did social media. So that's like it gets
Dude,
overwhelming.
that's the
it is.
craziest job. Yeah, that's the
It's
craziest job.
never
I can't
ending, man.
imagine that. Yeah.
I'm
But
trying to run like, my account. I'm trying to run the Shredware account, and
Yeah.
then like the bulletproof blading account. Like it's too much.
it's a lot.
That's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah.
I started like a little food one just for fun, just like so I can have fun on Instagram again. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like now it's like it's almost like I gotta do this Instagram stuff. Like it's more, it's more like it's cool to have fun on. Oh, whatever. So, but
But
that's cool. So Shredware on Instagram is like at Shredware.
So it's at shred_ware, WARE. And then the website is www.shredware.net.
I have a link to the website in the video description for anybody watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so for everybody that is interested in Shredware and wondering, oh, how much are they? They go for $65. And so I wanted to make them a price that is accessible for everyone. Like G forms are 100, triple eights are 80. So mine are 65. And if you are in the market for crash pads, hip and tailbone specifically, then try it out. I know that they're not going to be for everybody. Some people, hit their lower thigh or, hit other areas that's not your hip and tailbone. So if you have the problem of hitting areas that's outside of your hip and tailbone, then this probably aren't the best for you. But specifically hips and tailbones, if that's your thing, Shredware is your product.
That's cool.
That's
I have a
what's up.
specific right hip problem, so I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, dude.
But
I'm gonna send you some, dude. Just send me your address after this. I got you. It'd be my honor to have you repping some Shredwares, man.
I'm supporting. Cool. Let's get into we got, in a bit we're gonna get into questions. We're gonna engage the audience a bit, but there's a few more things I'd like to talk to you about, if that's okay.
For
Also,
sure.
everyone, please hit the like button if you're watching live. If you're not watching live, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Those things are great for us. It's helpful. So I want to talk about music, fellow drummer. We got 3 drummers in the house right now. And the first time I heard you were a drummer, it was from someone in, I forgot who it was, like someone, maybe Kenny, but, oh yeah, he's a drummer. Modern Primitives, and I was like, oh cool. So I checked out like a lot of that music, and your drumming eventually led to this other thing that you've done in music. So tell me a bit about your path in music.
Oh man, so it's really funny, dude. I actually lied my way into playing drums.
What?
I know, right? So I was 14 and I had a drafting class, which was the basics for architecture. And so it was at a vocational school. So they send you to a different building and it's you and people from all different high schools. And so it was me and my 3 buddies, RJ, Chris, and Paul. And so we were just like the 4 musketeers of class, we were the smartest dudes. We got our assignments done fast. And it was the type of situation where once you got your work done, you do what you want. So we'd fuck with people. We'd put Trojans on the computers and be opening up porn on the teacher's computer and watch his response, open his disk drive. And so we were just a bunch of goons in class. And one day they were talking about starting a band, and 2 of them played bass, 1 of them played guitar. And they were like, oh man, if only we had a drummer. And I was the only one left out. So I was like, oh yeah, I play drums, blah, And they're like, what?
Sick.
They're like, do you have a drum set? And I was like, nah, I sold it. Just lying, never even touched
He
it.
sold it.
Lying. And one of them was like, oh, I can get you a drum set. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I can get you one today. And I'm like, oh shit, but you got to play along with it. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Dude just had a drum set in the back pocket, man. He's like, I can get you a drum set today, dude.
What the hell?
It was crazy, bro. And so
wow.
He was like, after school, just meet in my car. My neighbor's giving away a drum set. And I was like, okay. So I'm nervous as shit now because I'm caught up. But I'm in too deep. And so school gets out, go to their car. We all drive. And I'm intimidated as fuck because I'm a trailer park kid. So I live in a little ass trailer. We roll up with these 3-story mansions. And I'm like, fuck.
What?
I'm like, oh no, my friends are rich. And now they're about to find out I'm poor. It's
Oh, God.
this garage door opens and there's this vintage Ludwig drum set. It's a $1,400 drum set.
Ooh.
Wow.
And it was a 60s 3-piece.
That's
and
a
yeah, Ludwig. And so I'm looking at it. I never touched a drum set in my life. They're like, play something. And I'm like, yo, I gotta go. I was supposed to ride the bus. And so if my parents see me and I didn't ride the bus, I'm gonna get in trouble. We gotta get these things to my house. And so like I don't even know how to take apart a drum set. So I'm just picking up the pieces that are loose and shit, like letting them unscrew things. And so we get in the car, we get to my parents' trailer, and I'm all like embarrassed as shit. Like, man, now they know I'm poor. They were like, we want to see you play drums. And I'm like, nah. I was like, help me get these inside. And so like we run them inside. And they're like, set them up, play. I'm like, y'all got to leave. My parents are about to be home. Y'all got to get out of here. I'm going to get grounded. And so they leave. I'm going to take probably an hour to set them up. And then I just started beating on them. It probably looked like Will Ferrell and Step Brothers, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so that was my start to playing drums. And I just took my little Discman and I had my CDs and I would try to learn the songs that I was listening to. And so I was listening to James Brown. I was listening to Led Zeppelin. I was listening to The Roots. There's this band called Snot that I used to love. And like I used to learn all their songs. And so it was a really cool like mix of music. You know, I didn't just learn one style. I just learned a hodgepodge. And so I ended up getting like within a week, I had like 2 beats that I used for every song we made for like the first like 3 months. And then I really started like going in on the drums and like kind of just being unafraid to try, you know, where you just have that session where you're like, I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm just going to close my eyes and just do
Throw
this
it.
a little bit.
Throw it. Yeah.
And then you hear something and it's like, oh, let me repeat that, you know? And so
That worked. Yeah.
exactly. And then that just spawned it, you know, and from there, I started to really develop a love for the drums and got good at it and started actually playing in bands and playing shows. And now here we are, like, I don't even know, 23 years later yet.
Whoa, it's never been that
Crazy.
long?
I started rollerblading and playing drums the same year.
Yo, first of all, that's a crazy
15
story.
is a good age.
Well, first of all, it's a crazy story. Second of all, you didn't lie to these people about not playing drums. You conned them into getting yourself a free Ludwig drum kit.
Turns out, right? Turns out.
You're like, I want to play the drums. How am I going to do this? Let me con some people into giving me a free drum kit to practice on.
Yep.
That's so sick.
I'm curious. I'm curious what the next session was like.
What was like?
I'm sorry, but you go ahead.
No, what were we saying? I missed.
I was saying, I'm curious what the second session was like, or the first session. So now you're like trying to rush and learn these beats. Okay, like we're jamming what Friday, right? Like, well,
Yeah, like a week later.
I had a whole week, dude. I had a whole week.
That's not enough time at all.
That's cool.
That's not enough time.
It was enough time to make two different variations of a 4-count beat. You know, like 4-count pattern. Cool. Your basic boom pap. You know, and so, but yeah, just it was when I just stopped really trying to like be perfect. You know, just see what happens. Once I got into experimental mode and felt comfortable being in experimental mode, like things just started to come on the drums. Mm-hmm. I guess it's kind of like that with skating too, though. You know, like you eventually reach a point where you start feeling comfortable just trying whatever. Yep. And then you're just like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that. You know? Like,
yeah.
And so it's a lot easier with music because, you know, there's not that risk of health. And so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, other than like, you know, missing the rim and hitting your hand on it, like, you know, which is like that's what you do in the beginning a lot in the beginning. You have like a lot of these.
I'll be doing that at shows still, man. Like,
oh yeah, you used to have a bloody snare drum a lot, like, you know, playing the heavier stuff and just be like, oh, we got to keep going. The show must go on.
Or you break a stick and half the stick comes to hit you in the head or some shit.
That's the best. You need the sticks in the kit, like, you know, just in case.
Yeah.
I've definitely gotten a splinter from playing off some shitty sticks, and like I had to finish a song with a thick.
Oh my god!
With whack.
Oh, that's rough.
Your thumb?
It was in the index.
Oh, right in the fulcrum. Right in the fulcrum.
Yeah, I hooked the sticks, and so it was like I went to roll forward, and the tip of the stick caught the bottom of the tom. And so it slid the stick up my hand.
Oh,
and just jammed the toothpick into my finger. I was like,
Yeah, you can't like stop.
Crazy.
Gotta finish the song.
Oh man. But
That's
you
cool.
learning the drums or just any music while learning how to skate also, those definitely go hand in hand. For anybody who's not like a musician who's listening, might not understand it, but the best way to relate it is like they're both like, if you want to call it that, like art forms. Like there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of like trial and error involved, and perfecting it is like a major thing with music and with your skating, I feel like. So they go hand in hand, and it's a good couple of things to learn at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the amazing things about skate videos too is it exposes you to music you would never hear. And so for me, a lot of the music that I listen to now is stuff that I heard through skate videos, and have taken that influence and expanded on and found new, artists and bands from that origin, and so I gotta credit a lot of, my music taste or music taste and inspiration to skate videos.
Yeah. I agree
Totally.
with you on that one. You know what I did the other day for the first time? Maybe like yesterday, the day before. I was just thinking about music and skate songs, and I was playing the drums, and I'm like, let me listen to watch a skate video like on YouTube and see like play along with every section. So I put like I put VG10 on because I remember the music in VG10 was pretty crazy because Dave was fucking killing it, and I was listening and I was playing to like each section of VG10, like and it was just something that I never done on the drums before, and it's like my way to mesh skating and drumming together.
You should have just filmed it and made a YouTube video about it, like a little Patreon video.
All right,
dude.
that's what I was
That'd
trying
been
to get. That's what I was trying to get at, but
Do
I
the
wanted
remix.
to practice it first. But that's what I was
Alright.
trying to do. So like that was my first time trying it ever. But it's like an interesting thing because there's a lot of, like you said, different varieties and styles of music within one video. So it just shows like the dynamics of your skill or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. Dude, you actually had a really, really sick section back in the day where you played drums for your section. And I thought that was the coolest shit. Also, you lit it up too when you're drumming, man. That was really dope.
Thanks, man. My drumming, well, I watch that now, of course, it's like horrible. It's like watching yourself skating when you first started, you know. But I like that I have that, and it's cool to go back and reference skating and drumming to be like, oh, I'm a lot better. It's cool to see where you came from, you know.
Hell
So
yeah.
I would like to do like a modern version of that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I was talking with Dave Payne about doing something like that. So maybe in the future.
That's cool.
We should all do
Yes.
that. We should all do
This-
that. Have a
this-
3-piece VOD of drumming to our own skating.
Yeah, and then
Did-
like when you get done, you got to throw the stick, and then the other person catches it, like that transition, right? Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'm
Yeah,
down.
At the next Pow Wow-
YouTubey. I mean TikToky. My bad.
Yeah. No, at the next powwow, that sounds like something to do.
Damn, Pow
Oh,
Wow.
sick. Yeah.
If that still goes on, I don't know. COVID's been such a real thing.
They should have done Pow Wow this year because Florida hasn't had COVID since the week after COVID happened. Like, you know, like
That's
Florida
right.
doesn't recognize COVID. So like, I'm surprised it didn't happen this year at all.
And
Well, I hope they come back.
I know like Blake really cares, about being safe. And I was on the powwow committee for the last one, and we kept the chat going to continue to talk about the possibility of it happening. And yeah, it's such an amazing contest. It's the weekend long festival, camping and living blading. But I mean, respect to Blake for being responsible. It'll be back though.
Nice. I love hearing that.
I know I was the last powwow was the first one that I ever attended, and I was upset that, of course, COVID happened that weekend pretty much, and now we got to wait so long for another one because I was like ready to go to the next one already.
Yeah, man, that was an amazing powwow too. The way everybody listened. Everybody, they said, "Hey, we got to do a blackout, no posting." Like everybody complied. Usually, there's always one or two people that just don't care and just are going to do what they want to do. And to have that many people for a whole weekend, like on a complete blackout where they limited the times we could leave and come back. And if you didn't come back within the time, you were locked out. Like we almost got locked out.
Yep.
It was crazy, and just props to Blake and everyone else that was on the team to keep everyone, together and informed. And then props to everyone for actually sticking to the plan. It's rare to see a whole community of like people coming together and actually like doing something like that.
That shows
Yeah.
how smart and how mature we've grown as a community. Because I feel like if that was 2005, that wouldn't have gone the same way at all.
Like a super hick.
Yeah, like a super hick or a bitter cold type of thing. Like, people who own that red roof in Ohio or whatever are still traumatized from skaters coming there for bitter cold and shit. But yo,
Yeah.
shout out to you for almost saving Jump Street podcast during that powwow, because even though the blackout happened, I messed up and forgot the mixer to do our powwow shows when we did like Shima, Joey Chase, John Bellino, and we were like, there was like a lot of musicians, and you were there, and you almost came through with the mixer for us to plug it in and everything, and it didn't work eventually, but I had to go buy something. But you almost like saved the show, and shout out to you because you came through for that too. You were like, oh, I got something right here in the van. We're like, yes. So
Yeah, I was trying to help out, man. You guys do such a great thing, and just the respect for both of you as people in rollerbladers. So, it was my pleasure to like try to be able to help out in some kind of way.
of
That was
course.
such a cool event. Like, I love how everything was blader, all the bands, like
Yeah.
all the DJs, everything was a blader. That was, I don't think I've ever been to a contest where it was like that, or been to blading contest, but, the band doesn't rollerblade, or the DJ doesn't rollerblade. They're just friends of or getting paid. Like, this was all rollerblading, man. And like seeing, just the talent. Like, we had Kurt Newman. You guys remember Kurt Newman from Atlanta?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
rapped, Julian rapped, Montre's little brother, TJ, aka Most High, killed it. Had a phenomenal set.
Shima's
Brian
band played.
and Skookum Brothers,
Yeah.
Sammy Chase's band. Like, it was a star-studded, lineup, and it's such a rad event.
Yeah, no, that was a really special one. That was like the first one that like I went to and like camped there. Like we went before, but we got a hotel, and like this time we like camped there, stayed there, and like it was like Shima came out for the first time and showed his face for the first time in years, and then the Bellino had just come back,
Yeah.
and then like of course like all like the the classic like homies like Montre, and then like you and Dowling, and it was just such like a cool event. And yeah, like I really hope for that to come back again, because they have such fun things. Like the snake run race is like the coolest
So
thing.
sick.
It's just like the funnest thing to watch, and like the best trick and the bowl and like all these aspects of it. It's broken down the females. Like it's done really well. So yeah, I definitely hope that goes down again. But
Yeah.
before we get into questions, I'm just curious about the drum machine things now and what's going on with that. Have you played some shows with that? Have you what's
Yeah,
going on with that? Because you've done some cool stuff, made some really cool videos.
Thanks, man. So basically, the way Moon Man started was during the 2020 COVID shutdown. Modern Primitives had a bunch of shows. We had festivals. We had like high dollar gigs, and so we were really excited about for the what the year had in store for us. And then when everything got shut down, bars, venues going first, immediately all of our gigs were gone, and it just was kind of heart-wrenching, because that's a huge side of me, and so playing a show is like, winning a contest, where it's like you're in front of everybody, you're doing your thing, and everyone's happy in the outcome, and you celebrate and are celebrated. And so it's such a special event. And to lose all that, I was like, well, I got to do some kind of music, and we weren't really practicing. Everybody was working and trying to hustle up because, money's tight and everything being limited with capacity and stuff like that. It was harder to make money. And I work as a creative. I'm a videographer. And so, that really hurt my pockets a lot. And so I needed something. And I've always had a love for, hip hop and electronic music, especially through skate videos. And so like DJ Shadow, RJD2, Jay Dilla, like Madlib, MF Doom, these are people I would have never heard had I not seen them in a skate video to somebody's section. And so I've always had an interest in that kind of music, and this was my opportunity to dive into it. I was like, I got nothing else to do. And so started doing like little Instagram sample challenges where it's like, make a beat out of this song and submit it and tag this, and this. And I did a few, like, got slept on, and then finally, like, started, like, I made one, and like one of the DJs like reshared it, and I was like, oh, cool, and then like a lot of people were like, oh, hey, that's cool, you're making beats. And so it was nice to get some support. And so I just kept going with it and having fun with it, and started trying to make my videos more entertaining. Like in the beginning, the videos are just me in my room wearing like different circle shaped glasses. Then I started like making the videos where it's like a bunch of me's, like 4 or 5 me's doing stuff. And then ultimately started doing the 360 camera stuff because it's just super easy. But I got a new album right now. I haven't released it. A couple people have it, that I've sent to give me some opinions. But yeah, I'm making some beats, getting ready for more shows. I played Ramping Camp. I played the after party at Bocce Pope. Played shows locally. Played at Julian's birthday party, and so and Halloween. And so I've had some shows. It's like a fully immersion experience with my show because I have lights, and then I have like actual visuals, and so it's not just me up there pushing buttons. It's a whole thing.
Damn, that's fucking awesome. I loved your COVID videos, by the way. The even like just the one shot of you like ripping a beat for like a minute with the glasses on. Like, those were so sick. I look forward to those every day. Genuinely did.
Thanks, man. It's interesting when you try to do something new because now you have to like create this whole vibe and image for it, and
That's the fun part.
yeah, exactly. And so it's weird. Like whenever I'm doing a Moon Man show, um, I don't get nervous because it's not like I'm going up there. It's not Phil. If Moon Man messes up, that's fine because Moon Man takes off the costume and then there's Phil. And so it's weird. There's like this whole. It's interesting having a persona because before in Modern Primitives, Phil is the drummer. If Phil messes up, Phil messed up. It's on me. Whereas this, I can like put it on and then I can take it off and walk away from it. And so it's interesting because it's a whole different vibe, and I can understand now why so many celebrities that have characters do such crazy things, because for that amount of time you're this character, and so depending on what you make your character to be, depends on the crazy. And so for me, mine is Moon Man, so my beats kind of have a spacey vibe, and so that's pretty much like the premise behind it.
That's cool.
You ever have any beef with Moon Man?
Moon Man beef? Nah.
Should-
Here's Musky.
Oh, there we go. What up, Puppy?
Up. Yeah.
Puppy cameo.
Come on.
Well, cool. I think we could get into maybe some
Questions.
Patreon questions. We have some Patreon questions. We have some
do
super
it.
chats, of course, to our live guests watching. We split our super chats with our guests 50%. So if you like what you hear and you feel inclined to donate, we very much appreciate that, and so does our guest. So, Austin, do you have some Patreon questions lined up?
Yes, I do. If you are watching also, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. But let's jump into some of these Patreon questions. We have the first one from Nathan Bentley, who asks, what were the most unexpected difficulties of owning and operating an indoor skate park?
The most unexpected was the inspections. So it's one of those things where like you get your space, you get it built, everything's ready to go, but then you got to pay $10,000 to have somebody come through and look at your stuff to tell you if it's up to code, just for fire. Then you got to pay someone else like, a few $1,000s to come through just to tell you if your structural is correct and like your plumbing. So, we had like, a pretty big loan to get the park going, and we thought that was it. And then we had to borrow like, another large amount because we just got hit with this like, $12,000 bill that's due before we can open.
Oh,
And so I would say that was the most, unexpected. Um, I would say for us, our biggest struggle though was COVID. We were doing pretty decent, in terms of being able to pay the rent and starting to save money. We had kind of got to that point where the skate park was established, and so we had our regulars, and we had our ways to start succeeding. But then we had to close, and we were closed March 20th to September 17th. So that's literally just 3 days shy of 6 full months, and we had to pay rent. It was half rent, but it's still thousands of dollars that we had to pay when we generate our money based upon attendance and we were closed. And so that was our biggest struggle. And, once we reopened, we only had 2 more months left on the lease. And then they raised the rent $500 while we were at a third capacity. That was super tough. But, if you are a person that's looking to open an indoor skate park, at this point, there's not going to be any more COVID shutdowns. So I don't feel like that's something that you have to worry about as a deterrent. Just make sure you're in a location that you can afford and you're going to be able to have people that are going to support you.
damn. Well said. It's my cats are going crazy right now. Get out of here. Sorry about that noise, but we got to get into the fire inspection business. Yo, 10 grand to check that shit. 10 grand a
Yeah,
pop.
fire inspector. Yes, ridiculous.
That's a pretty sweet deal.
Yo,
Yeah.
that's a good business.
And they literally,
sucks.
all they did was they looked at the fire alarms and they looked at the wire that goes between it. That's it. There's
Wow.
like, this is like all of maybe 7 minutes.
Wow.
And
Of
like,
course, yeah, it can't be that much, You look around, you're like, oh, that's it. Okay, boom, 10 grand.
yeah, literally.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's
But,
$1 million idea right there. We have more Patreon questions before we get into the super chats. Next one's from David Dodge, who says, "My dude,
Hey,
what's your favorite trick you ever filmed? It can be one that people have seen or one of the many that got lost over the years."
man, that's the hardest question to ask somebody, dude. Like,
Maybe that's why he asked it.
all right. I guess the first one that comes to mind is in what was supposed to be the 2005 Daily Bread video. Daily Bread went out of business, and so the video came out on YouTube, filmed by James Reedsky. But in that video, I do a fakey backflip on the stair set, and so it's the only one I ever have recorded. And so I like offhand that would be the first one that comes to mind. The crazy thing is that was second try. First attempt, I jumped way early and did a back handspring off the stairs and still landed
What?
it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Everything you just said is crazy. First of all, fakey backflip, that's fucking nuts. I never knew there was a Daily Bread video that only made it to YouTube that James Reedsky made. Like,
Yeah, man.
what was it called?
If you just type Daily Bread Charlotte 2005, just like to that combination, you should be able to find it. I'll send you the link because I can't remember exactly what it was called.
I gotta check that out.
I'm pretty sure if you type Daily Bread Charlotte 2005, it'll come up.
Anything James Reedsky is worth watching. Also,
He's the best, man. We got James Reedsky in our Blade chat. He's back. He's on big wheels, but still he's on blades, and so that's
Sick.
good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
He was my Strava buddy for a while. He goes on.
Oh yeah.
We'd follow each other on Strava. He went on really long rides and big wheel blades. He's always doing long trips.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy and a big hero of mine, man, from way back in the day, dude. Those Life Pluses, like,
Yep.
I was wanting to be in Life Plus so bad. Like, whenever James would come out to the sessions, I was going off, dude. I've hurt myself for James' camera trying to do some stuff I knew I couldn't do, but that's how it goes when you're young and grommet stats trying to get some attention.
Yep.
Yeah, that man.
Definitely. His sections were usually my favorite in most of the Life Plus videos too. I always look forward
Yeah.
to the James Reesky freeform edits.
Yeah, they were nice.
Always super
And he
sick.
would make the beats too. Like
I
he was
know,
so
so
far
good.
advanced, man. So far
I didn't
advanced.
know he did. I didn't know he made the beats. That's cool.
Reetski beat skis. That's what he.
Wow. That's I can
That's
see
why
him saying that.
the
That's
music
funny.
was sick too. Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure someone like you would appreciate that also because of that style and everything. Like I don't even know what that genre of style would be called, but it was
Yeah.
it was different from anything else that was using skate videos pretty much at that point. So it was
Yeah.
super cool. We have one more of these Patreon questions before we move on to the super chats. David Benke says,
The,
"I did I say that right?"
yeah. Binky.
Okay,
That's right. We
Benke,
call him
okay,
Bink.
cool. He says, I always known you as a musician and a rollerblader. In some ways, they go hand in hand, but when doing both at high levels, there are risks involved. If you get hurt skating, you can't play drums. Did either passion ever cause you to miss an opportunity in the other?
I have definitely played some shows with real hurt wrist, but I've never not played a show from a skate injury, thankfully. And I would say the worst injury that I've ever gotten before having to play a show um, was with my bike club, Rad. Me and Montre are in this crazy bike club where we drink beers and punch each other off bikes and do wild stuff. And so we had just finished one of our events, and everyone's like dipping to go shower and eat before the after party. And so I'm on a tall bike. The seat of my bike is taller than me. So it's like 6 foot is where my butt is. And so I'm like up. And so I'm like dipping. I got like actually Jesse James from Florida was right behind me on a bike. And so we're dipping back to my house. And there's this SUV that stopped at a red light. And so I go around it on the passenger side to turn right on the street. As I'm passing it, the passenger door opens and I just get smashed like by the door in my left leg and then flip completely over the bike and the door and land on my hip on the sidewalk. Like I was so hurt, and it was like in front of a patio full of people, a restaurant. And so like I just ate shit, flipped for like 6 feet up to my hip. I'm so hurt. I'm also so mad and so embarrassed. And I jump up, and like the dude looked terrified, and he was actually like at the event taking photos, and he was this little short dude, and I felt bad because he was smaller than me, but I wanted to beat him up, and so I slapped him as hard as I could, and then I had to hold Jesse back because Jesse tried to fight him. And I'm like, you ain't even hurt. I was like, he didn't even hit you. And so like I corralled Jesse, and like we get back to my house, and I went to sleep, dude. And they like woke me up. They're like, yo, you gotta go play this show. And I'm like, fuck, because we're playing the after party. And I literally went like, and I'm talking about like I couldn't walk. Like I was taking baby steps and play the show, and literally like left and went to sleep again. Like that's how bad I was hurt. When you get hurt so bad that all you want to do is sleep, like you were hurt.
Fuck. Damn, what a story.
Yeah, man.
Billy, you're on mute.
I forgot you were into bikes. You were into like fixed gear bikes and for a while, right?
Yeah.
And like motorcycles and stuff like that. Cool.
Definitely motorcycles. I still like fixies too. I just I don't have a fixie currently, but I got a couple motorcycles. So
Sick. Very
Damn, a
cool.
couple.
got the priorities right.
We're moving on to our super chats right now for everyone watching live. And you have a question, we prioritize our super chats and split them with our guests. So kicking it off, we have Smiley Juggles, who says, my dude, who are the best unknowns from the Carolinas, and which Carolina mega session was your favorite? Miss you, bud.
Let's see, the best unknowns. Man, there's a lot. Let's see, best unknowns. We got Joey Adams. Is like just YouTube Joey Adams is rollerblading. This motherfucker, you'll be like, why is he not sponsored? Like he's just ridiculous. It's another dude, Cody Forrester. We got Tucker Freeland. We got Blake Hyatt. There's a lot. I guess John Cooley came up, so y'all know him already. There was a dude named Dave Allgood that was with like Will Gordon's crew, who was like super good. I don't know, man. Carolina's got a ton of secrets, man. A ton of just rippers. Tracy Kendrick, Casey Wilson. Y'all know who Casey Wilson is?
No, I don't think so.
He had like
Sounds familiar though.
Razors for a little bit. He was on
It
Fester
sounds
for a while.
familiar.
Like just phenomenal rollerblader. Like I don't know. It's just there's so many gyms, man. It's too many to name. Somebody's gonna be mad at me for leaving them out. Watch. If I left you out, don't take it personal.
I mean, you named a lot of people.
I tried. That's why I got to get everybody. Cause somebody's gonna be like, "You didn't say me." Well, so good.
We'll save them for the next shout out.
Right.
We'll save them for the next
Put
one.
you on a t-shirt.
We have a super chat from Stephen Wolp, who just wanted to say thanks, guys. Thank you, Stephen.
Hey, thank you, Steven.
Older Blading says, no real question. Phil is just the best dude. See you sooner than later, bud. Hi, Austin and Billy. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for the support. Here we go, with super chat from Get Rolling, who says, if you support Phil, you support the community, period. We're so thankful for him.
Oh, man.
Agreed.
That's my family right there. Thank you.
And we're thankful for you, Meta.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Meta's always doing his thing. Super chat from Sean Michelson, who says, damn, Phil, I already thought you were a cool dude after chill at Ramping Camp, but didn't know how badass of a human you were. Hands down, the most inspiring jump street so far. Much love, brother.
Oh, man, that makes my heart warm, man. Thank you, Sean. Hey, I will see you at the spring Ramping Camp if you're going to be there. Let's get it.
Ooh.
I got to get over there.
Oh, man, you got to, dude. It's amazing.
to.
The vibe, the scenery, like, you got to.
It seems that, yeah.
Looks like a fun time. I have to work every time there's a Ramping Camp, every weekend, of
It
course.
is?
Yep, I'm working this one. Yeah, Tim already hit me up about it. I know. Hopefully, eventually, one day, I will get to make it there.
Yeah, I'm glad he's doing it more times in the year now, so like people have more opportunities to go.
Exactly. Yeah, I know it's tough planning something for one weekend, like 1 out of 52 weekends, and like of course that's the weekend I have this or something,
Yeah.
So more opportunities is better for everybody. Next super chat's from Jason Coverstone, who says, "Phil, you're such an awesome person and an amazing skater. Can't wait to shred and chill with you and everyone else in May." Okay, so another one for the Ramping Camp.
Yeah, Jason's amazing. Like this guy, you ever see like a person and you're like, they're probably just going to be a normal skater. And then they blow your mind. That's Jason.
Yeah.
Like, Jason's just like, he's a normal guy. Like he's not flashy. He wears t-shirts, cargo shorts, like normal, regular dude. You see him like, oh yeah, he's, probably going to do some normal stuff. Hell no. Then he starts busting flips and
Shredding.
and you're like, who is this athlete? Like, what is this gymnast guy on skates? He's amazing, man. He's amazing.
That's dope.
I feel like people like that are more and more frequent in recent years.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like, and he's kind of a big guy too. He's like, he's got that like, thick chest. He's got the chest build, So like, you wouldn't expect to see a dude of his stature flipping the way he does.
Silent killer. Right there. Silent killer. Next super chat is from Tucker Freeland, who says, "You're awesome, Phil. Here's for the cheeseburger I owe you."
Hey, man, I think you owe me a few cheeseburgers. All right, so let me tell you a thing about
We better up that super chat then.
Yeah. This is the thing about how we blade here. It actually started with Kenny Owens in the Say Word days. And he would wager cheeseburgers to Montre and like me and Dre on like landing tricks. Because we'd always go and like eat at Wendy's, usually Wendy's was the spot after, Bojangles was the spot before. And so, during the session, he'd be like, yo, man, 2 cheeseburgers if you land that gap, it's just like, oh, and then Montre getting his cheeseburgers, so that kind of just became a thing. We just started wagering cheeseburgers. And
That's
so,
funny.
We were skating this ledge, and I think I might got up to like being owed 10 cheeseburgers between 4 people. I was talking all this trash. And you don't do your line, you gotta buy me a cheeseburger. And then they miss one trick in the line, like
Oh
cheeseburger,
my god,
double or nothing. You know,
that's
you
so
gotta do the
funny.
same line. You can't change your trick either. You gotta do the same line.
Damn, my
But
man did 10 cheeseburgers worth of clips, worth of tricks.
yeah, right. Right.
Damn, I could go for a cheeseburger right now.
That's some incentive, though. You know,
That's good. You know,
That is
skaters are hungry after
I
skating all
have to
day.
do this trick anyway. You mean I get a cheeseburger and I get to do the trick?
sick.
I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. Next super chat from Brandon Lemaire, who says, "Not a question, but thank you for coming out to my King of the North comp and having your first trade show booth. Love you, Phil."
Hey, yo, Brandon, thank you so much for letting me have a booth there. That contest was amazing. You run a tight ship, dude. Like, it's it's interesting how often you go to contests and like they're not very well organized. They don't keep the time slots and like the judging's wrong. This was the opposite. Like everything went on schedule. The contest was amazing. The atmosphere was awesome. Like the judging was on point. You know, nobody was pissed off with the results or anything like that. It was just like a fantastic contest. I wish the weather was better because I know there was a lot more people that was going to come, but you know, we still had a decent turnout. And I'll be back in the next one. Hopefully, I'll be healed up and healthy so I can compete. And but yeah, thank you for having me, man. Great contest.
It looked like a good contest. I saw the clips from it last weekend.
Yeah, man,
It
Wake.
went off. I know, Wake. Comes out of nowhere. Same thing at Pow Wow, too.
Yeah,
I feel like I haven't seen
Wake.
Wake in forever, and he came through and just, like, destroyed shit.
Cameron Card was going off. Jimmy Hake was going off. Let's see, Sasha Sims was going off. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, Sasha, I love his skating. I'm a huge fan of his skating.
Yeah, me too.
And his attitude. He's just a cool dude. He's like,
Yeah, he's a really good guy too.
oh man, and I appreciate it. Like some people kind of seem like they're trying hard to be in their own lane, and he just does it. He just is who he is, and like
Yeah,
it's awesome.
it's cool.
Hell yeah. We have a couple more super chats from Jojo Oso. Who
Hey,
says,
let's go. Let's go.
yeah, thank you, Austin and Billy, for this. Much love, Philip. What's your favorite MP song?
MP
Modern
for Modern
Primitives. Yeah.
Primitives. Ah, man. My favorite. Actually, I mean, to be honest, my favorite Modern Primitive song is "Lay with the Dead," and it's because that's the song that I wrote. Um, Basically, whenever Travis and I was writing that song, Darian was working a job where he was fixing telephone poles. He was all over the United States, and we didn't want to replace him. So we were like, fuck it, let's just play as a two-piece for a while. And we were in the room, and we had already kind of made a couple, songs, like ideas. And, he was like, man, I'm kind of dry right now. Play something on the drums. And I just started this pattern that is what is, Lay with the Dead. So if you have not heard that song and want to, just YouTube Modern Primitives Lay with the Dead. I love the song. It's kind of dark, kind of stoner metalish. We get killed by hot girls. So it's
Nice, a
gore.
video. Music videos are fun.
Yeah, man.
That's
I
cool.
do all of our music videos, man. The way that one came to be is I was dating one of the girl that kills me in the video. We were dating at the time, and she was looking for a storage space to put her couch. And I found this storage space, and we go there, and I was like, "This place is creepy. Like I want to film a music video because it's literally just long white hallways with brown doors. All looks the same." And so we had this like chase scene where we were just running, and like they have machetes, and yeah, just it's a lot. But it's fun.
Austin, can we put the link in the bio? Can we put the link in the bio?
We'll do it. We'll get it.
Let's put the link in the bio.
For people who want to listen to more Modern Primitive stuff, should they YouTube everything, or where else can they listen to it?
We do have one album that's on like Spotify and Apple Music. The album's called Illuminati, spelled naughty, Naughty.
Nice.
Can't
Very
take the
cool.
credit. That was Travis. He's always got great ideas. But so that's the one album we put up. We have more albums. We just never put them up because we're lazy assholes.
Put them up.
To be honest.
Put them up.
Need to.
People want to hear the music, man. We have another super chat from Get Rollin', who has a question this time. Phillip, brother, what is your favorite experience between the What Year Is It, Get Rolling Mex Tour, and Camp Rueda? Thank you for all you do.
Oh
One
man.
love.
All right, so I gotta have two separate experiences because those are two separate tours. So the What Years It Get Rolling Mexico tour, we went, at least the part that I was on, we went from Mexico City to, or actually we went from Morelia to Mexico City to Chiapas. And to be honest, my favorite part out of all of that was so I had two students, Leo and Amanda, and they drove 4 hours from Mexico City to come to the Morelia class, just to drive back home to Mexico City to take the Mexico City class the next couple of days later. And so the first day, they both learned four grinds each, and that just when you're teaching somebody and they're actually getting it and they're executing it, and then you see their spirit rise from when they learn what they've been trying to get and they get it and they're excited, and you help them get there. It's such a great feeling. And so
Mm.
I got to experience that over and over and over again because they just kept listening, and they were not afraid to try, and they were succeeding. They learned soul grind switching regular. They learned front side switching regular, whereas they didn't have either trick, And so now they got four grinds, and they're using both directions. Their feet in both directions, and now they have this solid base on how to learn the rest of their tricks. I explained to them whatever trick you learn it in both directions, learn it with both feet. If you're gonna learn a star grind, learn it with both feet. You're gonna do a macchio, do it one way and then come back and do it the other way with the other foot. And they really took on to that. And so I think for me, I would say that would be my favorite experience. And I'm still in touch with the whole family. Like the dad, Ifran, he came and I helped him work on his soul grind, and the mom rollerblades too. And so it's a rollerblade family, and I'm
Oh,
still in
sick.
touch with them. Yeah, and so it's cool. Like they'll send me videos of their progress of Leo and Amanda, and I'll give them cheers or give them tips. And so it that probably and I had a lot of experiences like that, and so that wasn't the only one, but to me, I guess that was the most meaningful because it was a brother and sister, and they both learned the most. Um, Puerto Rico was a bit different because in Puerto Rico we weren't teaching. We were there for judging contests and competing and touring, and also seeing a lot of nature and doing a lot of the wellness stuff. And so we did a lot of distance skating, a lot of going to beaches and rivers and you know waterfalls. And so there was a whole lot of really amazing experiences within that. For me, I guess I would say my favorite experience is when we were all in this freshwater spring. We tried for several days to go to springs, and each time we get to one, it'd either be the weather, made it mix with mud, or some group of teenagers were there and they dirtied it up, and we finally get to one, and we, went through, the forest and the rain and everything to get to this amazing spot where the water is 20 feet deep and you can see the bottom, and the pool is maybe a 20-foot radius, so it's a
Dang.
small circle of a pool, and we got maybe 12 of us in it, you know. Carlos Loso, I don't know if you guys him from
Of
Ghetto
course.
Community. Yeah, he's diving in, and I don't know, it was just really awesome, man. All of us being in the nature, the water was cold and but it felt so good, and it rained on us while we were in there, and so then I don't know, it was a lot. So that was probably my favorite experience from Puerto Rico.
There's
That's
so many
cool.
hidden gems out there in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. I want to go back. Oh man, also I met Abdiel. That was
That's a good
yeah,
one. That's
he
solid.
really
He's the
man.
best.
Yeah, dude. It's weird. Like I've met so many, of the pro rollerbladers I like came up watching and the current ones. And Abdiel was one I always wanted to meet and never did. And the first night I get there, it's like we roll up to this like free skate basically. It's like everybody's at this spot where most people are just skating, some people are learning stalls, but for the most part, it's beginners. And I look over and it's Abdio, and I'm like, no way. Oh my
The
goodness.
best.
And like I didn't just like run up on him, and ground out or anything. Like eventually he was in the vicinity of, my conversation and we all started collectively talking and then we were able to, make the introduction. And so
Okay.
it's super cool, man. Very nice dude.
Got on mute
Super
now. So
rollerblader. Um, got kids that are gonna be great rollerbladers too, and so that was really rad. Just seeing my hero in his element.
nice.
He's just like the nicest guy ever, Abdiel.
Yeah, and he's got a new section coming out.
Been waiting for it.
Does he?
He's been filming for it for like almost like 2 years now, I guess, since
I
the
got to
pandemic.
see it. I
You
got
got to
the
see it?
sneak peek. Yeah, and let's just say he's still on top of his game, dude.
Of course.
Still on top. His style is still flawless, like 360 topsoils and true topsoils, like I mean, none other, man. Austin, you're very close. You're very close on that too. With your three
Not
topsoils.
Oh yeah. Oh
not
yeah.
like him.
But you're very close. I'm not
Not
going to
like him.
say y'all far apart, man.
I have a
But
good spinning topsoil trick from Puerto Rico too, actually, that JP has from Butter TV. We got to put out this edit. But yeah.
yeah, we need some more Austin Paz edits.
I know. Go bug everybody. Go bug JP from Butter TV.
That was his fault. Fish, how are you, man? How are you, Billy? Are you back, right? You healed up?
I'm having like back and forth having like a knee issue that I have to just like figure out what it is. And some days I have good days, some days I have bad days. But I've actually like linked up with a friend who's a physical therapist who I'm doing like Zoom meetings with on Friday, who's helping me learn what the problem is and figure it out. It's a lot of years of skating adding up and just trying to figure out how to skate as long as possible. So, making
Yeah,
lifestyle changes as best as I can accommodate to and things like that. So, yeah, I'm just, uh, you know, out, just trying to skate as long as possible. So, but doing good, feeling good.
yeah, that's where I'm
Thanks
at
for
too, man.
asking.
Trying to push it, but also, we're in this for longevity now.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
game is different.
The game is different, but hey, doors are opening and I've been having a lot of fun, like just playing with skating, just making it very playful. So I've been just really enjoying skating. I think now more than at certain other points in skating where I was like skating really well, but I think there's a lot of stress and stuff, and now I'm just having like so much fun. So it's
Yeah,
like really cool, and they're both good. They're both needed, and it's different things. And I think, but I'm enjoying skating now.
dude, that's great, man. That's how I
Oh
feel
yeah.
too. I spent so many years like trying to like make it to some status, like, oh, I want a wheel or I want a boot or I want something, like, and all the while still loving and enjoying skating. But it's so much different now where I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to have fun and like spread the
That's it.
love, put myself to the best of my abilities. And it's been interesting because like having that mindset and like, with those actions, like it's actually taken me farther than when I was trying super hard, and so it's real interesting, and I'm just thankful to have made like some very valuable connections and being able to live the blade life.
Oh yeah,
We got to do this for as long as possible.
for sure.
Right.
We have another super chat that just came in from, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Jackie. Jackie Jong, maybe? Who says, collab for the next sandwich charity event. We're, Get Rolling, donating, hold on, I can't read this over here. Sorry. We are Get Rolling donating product and bringing New York City chopped cheese sandwiches for the community in the South. We love you, Phil. Bringing chopped cheese to the
Thank
South.
you, Jackie. Culinary
So
J.
that's Culinary J. Yeah. Jackie is phenomenal, man. And I think she is such an important person in the Get Rolling crew and in the rollerblading community as a whole. If you guys have ever been to any event where Jackie was there, doing the wellness shots and cooking up amazing vegan and non-vegan food, she really, really, puts her all into it and puts love into it and makes sure that what she's preparing is something that is going to be of nutritional value and, taste amazing for everyone. And so it's really interesting to like rollerblading. The rollerblading community has evolved to that point, to even caring about what we put in our bodies and how we take care of ourselves. And so it's really neat that she gets to pioneer that for rollerblading.
Definitely. No, she's always like, she's been working with some cool people on some cool things, and glad to hear that you guys have been in collaboration as well. As a lover of food, I need to try some of this stuff eventually.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
yeah.
I just since COVID happened, I became like a serious foodie kind of guy now. So now I just want to eat everything. Yeah, but
She's
okay. Sorry.
She's amazing. Like her cooking through the roof.
It looks good. I've seen some of the stuff on Instagram. It looks nice. Well, we'll take one more question. We're done with super chats, but before we get to this question, I actually have a personal question that I wanted to ask that I forgot to. What is the significance of oso? Where does it come from? I think it means bear in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm curious. Where that came from.
So when I thought of oso, basically, Brett and I wanted to have a name that represented our brand, but also represented where we're from. And so we started looking at, the state animals. And so like our North Carolina state bird is the cardinal. That's not very tough, And so the state animal is the black bear. And, bear boots. Sounds weird, And so I, was kind of stewing on it. And oso just came. It's like as bear in Spanish. And I initially liked that it was just a quick 2-syllable, easy to say, kind of easy to remember word. And I ran it by Brett. He didn't really like it. He was like, let's see, let's keep thinking. And so, gave it a week. And in that week, I was like, pretty set on it. So I was asking all, the people I was encountering that knew about the project, like, hey, what do you think about us as a name? And everyone that I talked to said it was cool. And what solidified it for me was I have this one friend, she's Samoan. And I was like, oso, it means bear in Spanish. She was like, that's also a Samoan word. And I was like, really? I was like, well, what does it mean in Samoan? She says it means to jump. And I was like,
wow, that's it. Sold.
I was like, that's
perfect.
Yeah. And so,
that's cool.
I met up with Brett again, and I was like, you got any ideas? He's like, nah. And I was like, yo, like, we got to do oso. Like, it means to jump. And,
Yeah.
He's like, all right. And then we went with it. And so.
It's cool.
That's perfect. I like the way it sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's cool to have the backstory behind it. Okay, so we'll take one more question from Michael Bennett. Some of my favorite Woodward summers were...
Mike Bennett, yeah. What's up, brother? I miss you, man.
He said some of my favorite Woodward summers were spent during the years Phil spent in PA. What's his favorite Woodward summer memory?
Man, I'm gonna give you my favorite Woodward summer memory with you, Mike, because over 7 years, that's like, I don't know, impossible to just immediately have the accurate answer. But I would say my favorite moment with you was the time that I caught my very first ever fish. Mike Bennett took me fishing, and I'd been fishing like several times growing up, and I hated it because every time everybody else would catch except for me. I mean, people would be pulling fish left and right, standing on either side of me, and I don't get anything. And so I'm like, this sucks. I hate fishing. And Mike was like, no, you got to come fish with me, man. You'll catch a fish. You'll catch a fish. And I was like, whatever. And he took me out to this like stream that was, outside of camp. And sure enough, I caught this little like smallmouth bass. This thing had to be like it was
Little
like
guy.
tiny. I seen bigger fish at Walmart. And
It was bait.
the funny thing is I never caught a fish, so I'd never learned how you take a fish off the hook. So I look like, one of them little kids you see in the video. I'm like, oh, like, what do you do? I'm a grown ass man. I'm with this tiny fish.
Little ass fish. Yeah.
Mike's dying laughing at me, like, you don't know what to do with that thing. Like, and so for me, that's my favorite Woodward memory with you, Mike.
Very cool.
That's a good one. Those are the days, huh?
Yeah, man, those are the days. It was crazy. It was awesome, like how much there wasn't to do at Woodward, and then the things people found to do.
Right. When there's nothing to do, the things you'll come up with, huh?
You get
Exactly,
creative out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I had never hung out in graveyards until Woodward. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we had cooler spots to go to.
But then realized years later it's a good place to film a music video. It's a good place.
Oh, yeah, there was like caves, quarries, and like towers and stuff. Like,
Oh, the tower.
yeah, wild
Jeez.
times.
Well, Phil, I gotta say, it's what are we, like a little over 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's been an incredible conversation with you, and honestly, I've known you for a while, but I learned a lot even on this podcast after talking with you, and it's cool to hear you like staying so positive and bringing such a good attitude to skating and continuing to work on things, doing a DIY, participating in charities, pushing forward for your local scene. It's inspirational, man, really. So it was an honor to have you on today. But before we let you go, I got to ask, do you have any last words, any shout outs, any thank yous, any words of wisdom that you would like to say before we go?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I'd like to send a very heartfelt thank you to you both, Austin and Billy, for having me on the show. It's an incredible honor. And so that's just been amazing. Yeah, it's been a great experience talking with you guys. Thank everyone that watched. Thank everyone that asked questions. And shout out to my sponsors, Pit Viper Sunglasses, Bulletproof Denim. Shout out to Blade Carolina. Yeah. And just everybody out there, let's keep rollerblading because we love it. And then let's keep that love in the forefront. All right. And something I got to say, whoever was there at the skate park when Diaby got hit by that skateboarder and the skateboarder said, "Welcome to LA," you guys are all punks for not whooping his ass. Because if that shit happened in Charlotte, if that shit happened in my city, homeboy would have got smoked. So,
Dude, yeah, that pissed me off seeing that. I want. Yeah.
I don't encourage violence, but in that sense, that dude took out our fucking homie, one of our best, on purpose, and was a dick about it. If I was there, I would have jumped in that fool's ass. So whoever was there, I'm calling you out. You was a pussy for not whooping his ass, man. You gotta have Diaby's back.
That was a disturbing video to see, and like I agree with you at that stage. I don't think it's a self-defense issue because there's already been an attack that's been achieved. So
shit.
That's a hate crime, pretty much.
If that happened here, that would have been a lynching issue because my crew would have jumped on him. Yo, we don't play that. We fight.
No, like yeah,
that kind of disrespect. Yeah, dude. Like we're not to start something, but like if I saw somebody hit Dre like that, it's over. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I'm
I
just
definitely,
saying.
I definitely had. I wish I
Also
was there
gotta let them
situation too.
know. We gotta let them know too that we ain't pushovers and we ain't bitches.
Yeah.
Because there's a
Right.
reason why they respect the rollerbladers in Charlotte. The skateboarders all respect us because they know the second one of them starts something with one of us, we're not gonna be the first ones, but we're gonna end it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was an opportunity.
No. When I saw that on Instagram, I was like, why am I never there for those things? Like, I just like
Right.
wish I was there so
Yeah,
bad.
you
Like,
from New
but
York? You grew up in
yeah,
this situation,
yeah.
man. Like,
But it's like that, especially like after years of like having to even deal with stuff that was just out of control. So, much love to Diaby, man. Like that was
pretty good
really
Yeah,
guy.
for
disturbing
real.
to see. Yeah.
I can't believe that
And
that
he's
But
shit still exists
such a
still.
nice dude. He's such a cool dude to everybody. Like I got to kick it with him out in Barcelona. Amazing dude, good vibes. Loves skateboarding, loves rollerblading, like loves everybody. Puts on a show for you.
Yeah.
You know what I
For real.
mean? Like he didn't deserve that. And so
no way.
yeah,
Well, yeah, huge shout out to Diaki. Yeah,
Diaby.
that's horrible, and you gotta. Hopefully, this hate, like I know it's dying little by little, but hopefully, it just eventually just just ends, and because there's no space for that kind of attitude or aggression or straight up violence in a place that should be a place for fun and good vibes and good energy and good times. So, I completely agree with you, and I just want to say again, thanks for coming on the
Yeah,
show and like
definitely.
like sharing so many stories with us and. Yeah, man, it'll be cool to catch up, and hopefully, I know I also won't be able to make it, but it'd be cool to make it out to Rampant Camp, and hopefully see you coming up this year sometime.
yeah. Yo, you guys coming to Crowder Power?
I haven't heard of it. What is it?
Yeah, what is that?
Crowder Power. Yeah, I don't want to get the date wrong, but it's in spring, and so it's on Blade calendar, but it's gonna take place in Raleigh, North Carolina, and so
Oh, sick. That's right. Blade Calendar.
strong scene. They got a strong scene. That's where Oak City is. We got Dylan Hop. Long.
Okay.
We got some strong bladers out here, but yeah, look out for that contest. It's gonna be huge. I think it's giving away like $2,000, something like that. Like we got
Sick.
good prize money,
That,
and
that
That
is a
sounds
good
so
good.
prize. Hell yeah.
that's gonna be a Carolina contest, and so definitely wanted to shout that out as well since that's happening in my state,
There you
Cool.
go. Represent. You got to represent
right?
the
Hell yeah.
local. Yo,
But
but
yeah,
Phillip,
thanks again, man. Thank you guys so much.
hell yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been awesome. Everybody who's watching live, thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next episode we have coming up next week. Phillip, take it easy.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.